Imagine standing beneath the blazing Egyptian sun, wind whispering through the dunes, as a team of archaeologists lowers a torch into a chamber sealed for more than 4,000 years. The air is heavy, untouched since ancient hands last closed this tomb. The light flickers across painted walls, and then the camera catches it, something no one expected. In the mummified hand of a forgotten priest lies a small metallic sphere, smooth, flawless, gleaming faintly in the dusty light. The scientists exchange looks. This can't be right. The alloy is too pure, the surface too perfect, the craftsmanship too advanced. Tests later show that the metal shouldn't even exist in that era. And yet, here it is. That moment, that single impossible object, sparks a question that echoes through time. What if the history we've built our world upon isn't the full story? From the very beginning of human curiosity, people have dug into the earth searching for our origins, only to find things that seem to belong to another timeline entirely. Across continents, strange artifacts emerge from soil and stone, tools made with impossible precision, carvings of machines that shouldn't exist, and cities built with mathematics so advanced that even today, engineers can't fully explain them. Our textbooks call them coincidences, errors in dating, or tricks of perception. But what if there's something more? Let us start our journey with one of the strangest cases in modern archaeology, objects that seem too advanced for the people who made them. In the 1940s, miners working in Colombia discovered small golden figurines. At first glance, they looked like simple ornaments. But when examined closely, these tiny treasures revealed something startling. Their shapes resembled modern aircraft, with wings, vertical stabilizers, and pointed noses. Some even had tail fins and what looked like cockpit windows. These weren't birds or insects. They were aerodynamic, balanced, and symmetrical. So precise, in fact, that when a few engineers recreated them as model planes, they actually flew. How could artisans from over 1,000 years ago craft objects that resemble flying machines? Did they create them purely from imagination, or were they inspired by something they had seen? We move thousands of miles west to the deserts of Peru, where the earth itself tells another story. Etched across miles of rocky ground are enormous figures, lines so straight, shapes so vast, that they can only be fully seen from the sky. These are the Nazca lines, drawings of animals, plants, and geometric shapes carved into the desert plateau over 2,000 years ago. How could the ancient Nazca people have designed figures stretching hundreds of feet long without any way to see them from above? No mountains close enough to oversee the entire creation, no balloons, no drones, no aerial view. And yet these patterns are astonishingly accurate, as if mapped by someone flying overhead. Were these markings messages to their gods? Astronomical calendars? Or could they have served a purpose we've yet to comprehend? Each answer leads to more questions. Then, deep in the African savanna, lies a circular stone structure older than most of recorded history, the Great Enclosure of Zimbabwe. Built entirely of granite blocks fitted together without mortar, its walls rise high, curving with mathematical precision. Archaeologists estimate it was built between the 11th and 14th centuries, but its design is so sophisticated that early European explorers refused to believe Africans built it. For decades, they credited mythical outsiders, Phoenicians, Arabs, even aliens. It took modern research to prove the truth. The builders were local, skilled engineers who left behind no written language but mastered construction beyond what anyone expected. Still, the mystery lingers. How did they quarry and transport the heavy stones with no iron tools? How did they achieve perfect alignment without advanced instruments? The walls stand silent, as if guarding secrets of an age long forgotten. And in those silences, the imagination begins to wander. History is a puzzle. Each discovery adds a new piece, but sometimes the pieces don't fit. We find artifacts thousands of years older than they should be. We find ruins that predate written history, yet show signs of complex planning. It's as if humanity's story isn't a straight line, but a loop, a rise and fall of civilizations we barely remember. Take the strange carvings in the Abydos Temple of Egypt. Hidden on the ceiling, ancient hieroglyphs appear to depict something astonishing: figures resembling helicopters, submarines, and airplanes. Egyptologists explain it as an overlap of carvings over time, old inscriptions filled in with new ones, creating accidental shapes. But when you stand beneath those symbols, looking up at what seems to be machines and stone, it's hard not to wonder, could these people have known something we've lost? Sometimes the past feels like it's whispering to us through fragments. Not far from the Mediterranean in Greece lies another riddle: the ruins of a city called Akrotiri on the island of Santorini. Buried by a volcanic eruption thousands of years ago, the city is astonishingly advanced. Multi-story homes, indoor plumbing, colorful frescoes that look as vivid as the day they were painted. Some believe Akrotiri could have inspired the legend of Atlantis, a thriving civilization suddenly destroyed and buried beneath ash. What if Akrotiri wasn't unique? What if there were others? Lost cities swallowed by time, their knowledge erased but their stories still lingering in myth. Every civilization leaves behind evidence of what it knew and what it believed. But occasionally, it leaves behind something it shouldn't have been able to create at all. Back in Egypt, under the desert sands, a forgotten city was recently discovered, a massive urban complex near Luxor, perfectly preserved beneath layers of time. Archaeologists call it the Lost Golden City. Its pottery, homes, and tools suggest a society of wealth and complexity, yet it vanished almost overnight. What happened to its people? No invasion, no record of disaster, just disappearance. The pattern repeats throughout history: civilizations appearing suddenly, achieving brilliance, and then fading into silence. Could natural disasters explain it? Climate change? Disease? Perhaps. But maybe the truth is deeper. Perhaps human knowledge rises in cycles, building and collapsing like the civilizations themselves. Standing amid these ruins, it's easy to feel small, a brief moment in a story that stretches back farther than we can truly imagine. Every artifact, every shard of pottery, every symbol etched in stone is a fragment of that story, one we're still piecing together. And every time we think we've understood it, something new emerges from the ground to prove us wrong. So, as we uncover these impossible relics and ancient wonders, one question remains at the heart of it all: are we truly the first advanced civilization to walk this earth? Or are we merely the latest to rediscover what others once knew and lost? This next part takes us to the people who built the impossible, the architects of ancient marvels whose knowledge seems to appear out of nowhere and vanish just as suddenly. Deep within the jungles of Cambodia lies one of the world's grandest puzzles: Angkor Wat. From above, its layout forms perfect symmetry. Long corridors, massive courtyards, and stone towers that rise like lotus buds piercing the mist. When French explorers stumbled upon it in the 19th century, vines wrapped around its towers, animals roamed its halls, and the jungle had nearly swallowed it whole. But even beneath centuries of decay, the precision was undeniable. Built in the 12th century by the Khmer Empire, Angkor Wat was dedicated to the god Vishnu and later transformed into a Buddhist sanctuary. It's so large that early visitors thought it must have been built by giants. What truly stuns archaeologists today isn't just its size, but the discovery made by laser scanning technology, an entire hidden metropolis beneath the jungle floor. Roads, canals, reservoirs, and neighborhoods stretch far beyond the temple's visible walls. This wasn't just a temple complex, it was the beating heart of a vast urban civilization. How could such a massive empire, advanced enough to plan hydraulic systems and align temples with celestial precision, simply vanish? There was no single war, no single catastrophe recorded. Yet by the 15th century, Angkor was abandoned. Some believe droughts destroyed its crops, others blame shifting trade routes. But maybe, as in many ancient mysteries, the truth is a combination of brilliance and fragility, human genius undone by nature's quiet persistence. And Angkor is far from alone. Thousands of miles away, beneath the rolling hills of modern-day Turkey, another discovery turned history on its head, Göbekli Tepe. When German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt first visited the site in 1994, he thought he was looking at an old cemetery. But as excavation began, workers unearthed stone pillars, massive monoliths arranged in perfect circles, some weighing more than 20 tons. The carvings on them were crisp and intricate: foxes, vultures, lions, snakes. When radiocarbon dating came back, the numbers shocked the world. Göbekli Tepe was over 11,000 years old, built long before writing, before pottery, before agriculture itself. According to everything we once believed, humans of that era were hunter-gatherers living in small, nomadic groups. They weren't supposed to have the organization or knowledge to build monuments larger than modern houses. Yet here they were, raising towering stones with symbolic carvings that hinted at complex spirituality. Even stranger, thousands of years later, the builders deliberately buried the site under tons of dirt, as if they wanted to hide it. Why would anyone conceal such a masterpiece? Some suggest it was a sacred closure ritual. Others think the culture feared something or someone. Whatever the reason, it leaves us staring at evidence that human civilization is much older and more advanced than we thought. As the story moves forward through time, the theme repeats. Knowledge appearing suddenly, disappearing mysteriously. In the Andean mountains of Peru stands another marvel, Sacsayhuaman, a fortress built by the Inca. Its walls are made of enormous stone blocks, some weighing over 300 tons, fitted so precisely that even a razor blade can slip between them. The stones aren't uniform. Each one is shaped differently, yet they interlock like a three-dimensional puzzle. Modern engineers admit they would struggle to replicate such precision without heavy machinery. How did the Incas, without iron tools or wheels, carve and move stones of that magnitude up steep terrain? Some believe they used long-lost methods of softening rock chemically. Others think they exploited sound vibrations to move stone, a concept echoing through myths around the world. Whatever their secret, it worked. Hundreds of years later, those walls still stand, surviving earthquakes that leveled newer buildings. Similar mysteries appear on nearly every continent. The pyramids of Egypt, the ziggurats of Mesopotamia, the step pyramids of Mesoamerica, all share mathematical harmony and astronomical alignment. How did civilizations separated by oceans and millennia create structures that mirror one another so closely? Did they share some forgotten source of knowledge, or do human minds naturally reach the same conclusions when they look to the stars? Let's cross the Pacific to the remote island of Nan Madol, often called the Venice of the Pacific. Built on a coral reef off the coast of Micronesia, the city consists of more than 90 artificial islets made from basalt columns. Each column can weigh several tons, and yet they were stacked like logs to form temples and palaces. The islanders have no written records of how their ancestors transported such massive stones across the ocean, as waves. Legends say powerful sorcerers floated the rocks through the air. Archaeologists, of course, look for practical explanations, but none fully satisfy. Nan Madol's ruins whisper of forgotten engineering and vanished authority. The last known rulers, the Sodler dynasty, disappeared centuries ago, leaving behind walls now half sunk beneath the tide. As the ocean laps against them, it is hard not to imagine what it must have looked like when torches lit the canals and chants echoed between basalt towers. These builders, scattered across continents, seem united by one thing. They reached heights of architectural genius that appeared suddenly, with no gradual buildup in skill. Then, just as abruptly, their cultures declined. History often describes progress as a steady climb, but archaeology tells a different tale, one of bursts of brilliance followed by silence. Could it be that human civilization rises like waves, each cresting higher before breaking and retreating into the sea of time? Consider Teotihuacan in central Mexico, the city of the gods. Built long before the Aztecs arrived, it features the colossal Pyramid of the Sun, aligned perfectly with celestial points. The city's grid layout rivals that of modern planners, yet no one knows who built it. By the time the Aztecs discovered its ruins, they were so awed that they believed it had been constructed by divine beings. Even today, the original name of the builders is lost. How could an entire civilization capable of such engineering vanish without leaving even a legend? Did disease wipe them out? Migration? Or did they simply fade, absorbed into the mists of prehistory? Every time an archaeologist brushes sand from an ancient stone, they uncover not only the craftsmanship of the past, but also the limits of our own understanding. It's humbling to realize that despite satellites and supercomputers, we still struggle to answer questions about people who lived thousands of years ago. Standing amid the ruins of these forgotten builders, one can't help but feel a pulse beneath the ground, a rhythm of human ambition echoing through ages. These monuments weren't just temples or tombs. They were statements, declarations that their creators understood something profound about balance, mathematics, and the cosmos. Perhaps they built not only for gods, but for time itself, to send a message forward, knowing one day someone would rediscover their work and wonder, how? And here we are, still asking. Were they guided by trial and error, divine inspiration, or remnants of an older wisdom handed down from a civilization even earlier than theirs? Some call that idea pure speculation. Yet every stone, every carving, every alignment seems to whisper that the past was far more interconnected than we've allowed ourselves to believe. As dusk settles over the ruins of Angkor Wat, the last golden light touches its towers and the jungle hums with unseen life. For a moment, time feels circular. The builders may be gone, but their creations endure, monuments to a chapter of history that refuses to close. What if, beneath every ruined city lies the blueprint of another, older one still waiting to be found? If the monuments of the past amaze us with their scale, then the artifacts hidden within them confuse us with their precision. Sometimes it's not the size of a discovery that shocks archaeologists, it's the impossibility of its existence. Tiny objects, strange metals, carvings that depict knowledge no one should have possessed. Each one, like a whisper from another time, asks the same question. How could they have made this? In 1901, Greek sponge divers exploring the waters off the island of Antikythera stumbled upon a shipwreck. Among the statues, amphorae, and fragments of bronze, they recovered something that at first looked like a lump of corroded metal. For decades, it sat in a museum, ignored, until an X-ray scan in the 1950s revealed an astonishing truth. Inside that lump was a complex arrangement of gears, dials, and wheels, all crafted with microscopic precision. It became known as the Antikythera mechanism, and it would change everything. Over 30 bronze gears, working together to predict the movements of the sun, moon, and planets, essentially an ancient analog computer. The craftsmanship rivals modern clockwork. It could display eclipses, track lunar cycles, and forecast celestial events with astonishing accuracy. And yet, it's over 2,000 years old. The real mystery isn't just who built it. It's how the knowledge required to design it appeared and then vanished. After its creation, there's no record of similar technology for over 1,000 years. It's as if someone briefly opened a window to a lost world of science, then closed it again. But the Antikythera mechanism isn't alone. Strange objects like it appear in unlikely places, each challenging what we think we know about human progress. In 1889, miners near Nampa, Idaho, discovered a small clay doll while drilling through a layer of earth more than 300 feet deep. The layer dated back 2 million years, long before humans were believed to exist in North America. Scientists quickly dismissed the find, claiming contamination, but the question remained, how could something so human, so intentional, appear in such ancient ground? Then there's the mystery of the Baghdad Battery, a clay jar discovered near the Iraqi capital in the 1930s. Inside it were a copper cylinder and an iron rod. When replicas were made and filled with an acidic solution like vinegar, they produced a small electrical charge. Could ancient people have known about electricity? Some say it might have been used for electroplating or simple chemical experiments. Others argue it's a coincidence. But that little jar still hums with unanswered questions. Far to the south in Bolivia, the ruins of Pumapunku defy logic. Massive stone blocks, each weighing several tons, lie scattered like pieces of a colossal puzzle. The cuts are razor-sharp, the angles perfect, the surfaces smooth as glass. Some blocks have precise holes drilled straight through them, as if carved by machine tools. And yet these stones are estimated to be over 1,500 years old, crafted by people who supposedly lacked metal tools or advanced engineering. How did they cut and transport these stones at an altitude of nearly 13,000 feet? Some believe they used lost technologies. Others propose a deeper, older civilization predating the known builders. Whatever the truth, Pumapunku feels like a message from another age of mastery. The list of impossible artifacts grows longer with every decade. In 1991, tiny metallic coils were discovered in river sediments in Russia's Ural Mountains. Some measured less than a millimeter long and were made of tungsten and molybdenum, metals used today in aerospace manufacturing. Their shapes were so precise that scientists initially thought they were modern debris. But testing revealed they were over 20,000 years old. Then there are the Klerksdorp spheres of South Africa. Smooth, perfectly round stones with etched grooves around their equators. Some are balanced so precisely that they spin on their axes. They're found in rock formations over 3 billion years old. Geologists argue they're natural concretions. Others can't explain their symmetry. Each of these artifacts sits like a riddle in the Museum of Human History. Are they evidence of ancient genius, or proof of something even stranger? Even ancient maps hold secrets that seem centuries ahead of their time. The Piri race map, drawn in 1513 by an Ottoman admiral, shows the coasts of South America and Antarctica with shocking accuracy. Antarctica, however, was supposedly discovered 300 years later, and the map shows it without ice. How could Piri Reis have known its true shape unless he had access to older, forgotten charts? The admiral himself claimed his sources came from ancient maps of the early kings. If true, that means detailed knowledge of our world existed long before the age of exploration. Was it passed down from a civilization lost to time? And what about the London hammer, a simple tool encased in a nodule of rock dated over 100 million years old? The handle is partially fossilized, the head made of pure iron. Many claim it's impossible. Skeptics insist the dating is wrong, but it remains an unsettling reminder of how easily the boundaries of time can blur when stone meets human invention. Each artifact forces us to re-examine the story we've been told. We like to imagine human progress as a staircase, each generation climbing higher, but what if it's more like a wheel, turning, rising, and falling through cycles of brilliance and loss? There's evidence that knowledge has been rediscovered, forgotten, and rediscovered again. For example, ancient Roman concrete has survived 2,000 years, stronger than modern cement. Its secret? A self-healing chemical reaction using volcanic ash. The formula was lost for centuries and only recently understood. It makes you wonder, how much more might have been forgotten? Even simple carvings hint at hidden sophistication. In Egypt, intricate hieroglyphs were carved into granite, a rock so hard that modern tools struggle with it. In India's temples, stone lattices are so delicate they resemble lace. In China's Sanxingdui ruins, bronze masks display artistry and casting techniques that shouldn't have existed in their era. Who taught them these skills? Did every culture simply stumble upon genius by chance? Or were they inheriting fragments of an older, shared heritage? Some scientists dismiss such ideas as pseudo-archaeology, cautioning against reading too much into anomalies. And they're right to be skeptical. Many impossible finds have turned out to be hoaxes or misinterpretations. Yet, even after the false leads are filtered out, the world still holds too many questions without answers. And maybe that's what keeps us searching. Because every artifact, whether authentic or misread, points to one undeniable truth: human curiosity never dies. Think about it. Thousands of years from now, what will archaeologists say about us? Will they find our satellites and wonder how we built them? Will they think our cities rose overnight, our technology a mystery? Maybe the artifacts of today will one day puzzle the people of tomorrow. That's the beauty of discovery. It connects us to the unknown, to those who came before and those who will follow. Each time a spade hits the earth, it doesn't just dig into soil, it digs into the story of who we are. And sometimes the smallest object can turn that story upside down. So when you hear about an ancient clockwork machine, a perfect sphere, or a map that shouldn't exist, ask yourself, are these the echoes of forgotten brilliance, or glimpses of a chapter in human history we've yet to read? Because if these impossible artifacts teach us anything, it's that the past may be far bigger, stranger, and older than we dare to imagine.